Welcome to 2025. I hope you all had happy and productive holidays to close out 2024. I had big plans for mine, but as soon as I got to my parents' house, it was one health issue after another, and I ended up sitting in the bed the entire time. This video is going to be discussing on the state of the channel going into 2025, as well as a way for me to lay out my plans for the year in the terms of content I want to make and the goals I hope to reach. This was originally going to be an unscripted video, but after a half dozen attempts at an introduction, I decided to forego that approach and fall back to the reliability of a script. There'll be timestamps in the description if you want to see what topics I'll be discussing and when, because I really don't know how long this video will end up being. But let me start by further clarifying what this video is. Effectively, from this point on, I plan to start each year with one of these channel updates, which will most likely take the same form as this. I always like to feel like I'm in the know about what a creator of any kind is feeling about their work and what their plans for the future are. And I've always aimed for transparency in all things related to this channel, so these seem like a no-brainer. It was originally going to be accompanied with a few other videos that I'd repeat the basic structure for each year, but I just could not find a way to make the scripts of those videos work. So for this year at least, they're a no-so. It feels prudent that I should probably begin discussing my future content plans with SRB2. I never set out to be some sort of SRB tuber, but that's ultimately what I've become, as for the most part, videos on any other topic I cover just do so much worse in comparison. With that said, I do plan on ignoring that and making more videos on other topics this year, as I can always just return to SRB2 if things go poorly. I'll still be making plenty of SRB2 content, don't you worry, but even there, I want to add some more variety to proceedings by making more generalized content. Most of my videos are SRB2 mod reviews, but I feel that outside of mods by the big names and groups, I've recently just ended up repeating the same few points for character after character. At this point, you all know my tastes and my inability to meaningfully improve at a game I've played for years, so you can probably guess what I'll say about any character you put in front of me. They're too slow, they're too complicated, etc, etc. I'll still be making some reviews, so you don't need to worry about me cancelling them entirely, but I'll be limiting them to mods that really stand out for one reason or another to me, whether that's good or bad. I'll probably also end up getting rid of the 1 to 10 numerical system in my reviews, to account for the fact that doing that will probably filter out most mods outside of the extremes of quality. I'll still find a way to try and cover other mods, but it'll be in ways that are less rigid than before. Last year, my best performing videos were those that broke the mold, such as attempting to practice speedrunning with Xsonic, or outlining some of the planned future content for SRB2. The latter especially is easily the best performing video I've ever made. In a week it had become my 4th most watched video ever, and the 2 days after release are by a landslide my most successful by every metric YouTube Studio can throw at me. I'd like more videos to do that well through 2025, please and thank you. I haven't really figured out what I'll make yet, but I suppose that's part of breaking out of a rigid content pipeline like I had before. Whatever it ends up being, I hope you end up enjoying it. The second area I want to cover are my playthroughs. In 2024, I managed to complete the grand total of 1 playthrough, Sonic Mania. More embarrassingly, I started it in August 2023 and finished it in September, so it took me a year to make 12 episodes and beat a game that takes a few hours at maximum. The approach I'm now taking for the Ring Raiders playthrough should hopefully allow me to complete it and future playthroughs significantly faster. That approach isn't completely finalized, even if the gist of the concept is clear, but I intend to improve it as the Ring Races playthrough progresses. A slightly less extreme overlay to improve the flow of the videos, and some live commentary are my main starting points, and I'm continuing to work on polishing those thumbnails to be more enticing. The main point I want to make in this section though, is that you can actually see what games I'm going to be covering after I finish with Ring Races, and even in what order. It's pretty simple. Just go to backlog.com, search up my account, same name as on pretty much everything else, _JackalMan, then go to my backlog and sort by release date old to new. The hope is that my crumbling, hugely outdated PC will hopefully be able to handle older games slightly better than more modern ones. Plus, older games tend to be much shorter, so I can get more playthroughs in more quickly. It also gives me time to find a way to improve the performance of the offending PC, even if it comes down to giving up and buying a new one to replace it. In terms of other types of videos beyond those, I first need to start with a cancellation of sorts. If you followed my social media or are a member of my Discord server, you may have heard me mention the CODEX. I released 2 videos as part of that series in February last year, if you want to see what the idea was. I hate those videos, so I looked at improving my work on them. I then came back to that rebranding a few months later, and hated that too, and I don't want to look back and hate my videos. So I'm not releasing any more codexes until I can finally return to them months after the fact and not want to immediately delete them. If I can get a template together that allows me to do that, then more codexes might arrive in 2025, but I'm very doubtful. That's a project I'm not expecting to return to for a long time, at least not in video form. However, I do have topics that I am confident I'll make videos on in 2025. If you were able to see my Twitter and Instagram feeds, you would likely be quite worried at just how much Arcane related content you'd see. I am currently in the middle of my latest and most all-encompassing hyperfixation, and with how much I've pestered literally everyone in all of my real-world circles to watch it to no avail, I have actually begun damaging my relationships with friends and family. In the interest of not allowing that situation to get any worse, I've realised I have another audience to endlessly talk about it with instead. You guys. I adore both seasons of the show, and I have just so many thoughts on literally every facet of them. And it'd be far better to talk about it on here than where videos have some sort of staying power, rather than just making endless Twitter threads. If there's going to be one thing that takes over from SRB2 and playthroughs on this channel this year, it's going to be Arcane. And if they announce one of the spin-off series sometime in 2025, oh boy, I promise you, you will not hear the end of it. The obsession is so bad that I got very close to downloading League. I didn't, before anyone starts reconsidering their subscription, but take it as proof of just how good Arcane is. The other topic that I had thought about making videos on was graphic design. I don't really know what form that would take. Design history, UI discussions, time lapses, or tutorials are all options, but this whole channel is basically just an excuse for me to practice design outside of branding and mobile UI, so it's kind of full circle. I'm planning on further rebranding of the channel in 2025, so maybe when I do that I can show how that's changed over the years, and you can all laugh at the earliest versions of what passed as a logo. Otherwise, I had begun working on a video critiquing SRB2's UI a while back, but never finished it. Maybe I can resurrect that. Whatever form it takes, I'm resolute that I want to do something about graphic design, but I'm not quite as confident on what that'll be compared to my ideas on Arcane videos or changes to the playthrough format. Finally, I want to talk goals for the channel in 2025. Every channel seems to enjoy making an arbitrary subscriber target each year, then only mentioning it around November-December time. So I'm going to make sure I'm plenty early to this by saying it now. I'm hoping to reach 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Considering that in the month and a half since making my video on SRB2's future, my subscriber count has jumped up by about 400 people. I think that's easily possible if I can make another video or two that does that well. If I reach that goal, I'll make a new version of my SRB2 mod ranking. The original 4-parter is plenty outdated by this point anyway, and it's my most requested video by far. Other than that, all of my goals are related to making my videos better, at least in my eyes. The big one is audio. Learning how to use sound effects better mixing my audio so it sounds right across all of your listening devices, and figuring out how to better project my voice. I've also begun practicing some digital sketching for the first time in years, so if the video calls for it, I'd like to get good enough at that to use some of my own art in my videos, and I want to better link together my Premiere and After Effects workflows, which should hopefully allow for more complex visual effects. It's a bit of a boring note to end a list of my plans and goals for 2025 on. I want to get better at file management effectively, but if it helps make future videos better, then I honestly don't really care. So that's my plans for the year. The JackalMan's New Year resolutions, effectively. If there's anything you want to see from me this year, please feel free to comment it down below. In the same manner, feel free to comment a change or idea you don't want to see, and I'll take it as valuable feedback. Unless it's an attempt to stop me from making videos on Arcane. That is going to happen, and you will not be able to hide from it, so prepare for it now. I hope you enjoyed the video though, and ciao.